Alright, Dishonored number 2. I don't really have a lot to say here. If you want a little history on the Dishonored series, as well as a more detailed breakdown on the gameplay and mission structure and stuff, make sure to check out the video I made on the first game in the series. I have it linked in the description below. Let's get right into it today, and let's talk about Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 was developed by Arcane Studios, the Lion location specifically, published by Bethesda Softworks, and was released on November 11th, 2016 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Windows PCs. I played the PC version through PC Game Pass, so all footage you are seeing is from that version recorded using OBS. However, I did not play this game on my Lenovo Legion Go, because, for whatever reason, Dishonored 2 on PC Game Pass does not use the Xbox Play Anywhere feature, aka cloud saves. I have absolutely no idea why this is, especially since both Dishonored 1 and Death of the Outsider do have this feature, so I do not know why Dishonored 2 does not. So, if I wanted to play on my Lenovo Legion Go, I'd have to run a separate campaign. So long story short, I did not play this game on my Lenovo Legion Go at all, so I cannot speak to performance on that machine. If you know why this game doesn't have Xbox Play Anywhere, please let me know in the comments, because I couldn't find anything reasonable when searching online. In Dishonored 2, the story takes place 15 years after the events of the first game. Emily Caldwin has been ruling over the city of Dunwall, as she was the rightful heir to the throne since her mother's assassination, or so we thought. During a memorial service for Emily's mother, Jessamine, the Duke of a different city arrives with robotic guards and the witch Delilah, who claims to be Jessamine's sister and the true heir to the throne. The Duke's men overpower the royal guards, and then Emily, or Corvo, escapes to Dunwall docks. With the help of some familiar faces, you have to take back what is rightfully yours from Delilah. Immediately in the game, you can make a choice as to who you play as. You can either reprise the role of Corvo Attano, or you can play as the now adult Emily. I played as Emily because I like the idea of Emily being the one to do the dirty work to get her throne back, versus Corvo doing it for her. Doing some reading online, it does appear that the characters do have different abilities and such, but playing as Emily, they seem pretty similar from what I can remember. But story-wise, it seems relatively similar for the most part as well. But with that being said, I definitely prefer the story of the first game more than the second one. The first story was a little more straightforward, and I knew what I was doing and why I was doing it at all times. In Dishonored 2, it's a little more complicated than that. Some parts of it I was confused about and was wondering what was happening and why it was happening. But in my opinion, the game was kind of vague about it at times. And with that being said, it is a good thing that I picked Emily as the character to play as, since from what I can read, Emily's playthrough does have a slightly better story to it. So if I was Corvo, who knows what I would have thought. And playing through that story, I was able to play through 2 missions that I have heard through the years are top tier mission design. One of them I felt lived up to the hype, the other I think fell very short. The first one I did was the Clockwork Mansion. The gimmick here is that the whole mansion changes its layout by throwing switches. This mission reminded me of the Relativity art piece by MC Escher. This is what was traversing through the mansion felt like. This mission is so widely liked because of the intricate animations of the transformations, the atmosphere of the mansion, and it gives you a look into the mind of the Dishonored series' greatest inventor. However, I was not a fan of this mission at all. Although the transformations of the mansion were cool, the time spent in the actual mansion I felt was kind of short with how people talked about it. Not to mention, I oftentimes got lost and could not figure out where to go. But with that being said, that was kind of the intention of the mansion's designer, so safe to say the immersion aspect of the mansion was accurate, and that could be good mission design if that's the case. But as far as I'm concerned, all because that's what's supposed to happen doesn't mean I was any less frustrated about what was going on. The second mission that is widely known and much more polarizing in this game is a crack in the slab. In A Crack in the Slab, you are in a different mansion, one that is very neglected and run down. But not long after entering, the outsider gives you a tool that allows you to travel through time, bouncing between the current state of the mansion and the mansion in its heyday. The tool also lets you peek into the past or future, depending on the time period you are in before actually traveling. Some players hate this level because you lose all your normal abilities, and all you can do to progress through the level is time travel instead of your average sneaking abilities. People aren't a fan of this for obvious reasons, but at the same time, the time traveling is done so well that it is hard to hate on it. I was much more of a fan of this mission versus the Clockwork Mansion. The time traveling is done so quickly, it makes bouncing back and forth between time periods a breeze, which is a good thing because you will be doing that a lot. Oftentimes there will be physical obstacles in your way that can only be overcome by time traveling, oftentimes by you changing something in the past for it to impact the present. And sometimes there were guards in the past that I had to deal with in order to progress through the level, and thanks to the preview feature with the time traveling device, I was able to perfectly set up myself for quick and stealthy kills, and boy oh boy did it make me feel like a badass. Not to mention, it was just cool to see how the mansion changed over the years and how it has impacted certain things. Overall, much more of a fan of The Crack in the Slab than the Clockwork Mansion. And playing the Dishonored games makes me feel like a time traveler in real life. I did not mention this in that first Dishonored video, but I blitzed the time on that game. HowLongToBeat.com says it is a 12-hour game. However, I think I did it in like around 8. And now with Dishonored 2 being a 12.5-hour game, I did it in under 8 hours. I must be like ignoring a lot of stuff or not exploring as much as some people, but I just blitz these games somehow. This isn't a bad thing by any means. If anything, it's a good thing because I got a long list of games I want to play, so the faster I can get through games, the better. But typically, HowLongToBeat.com and the Xbox app are pretty accurate on game lengths. But for these games, they are wildly off in my experience. And again, this isn't a positive or a negative. It's just like an observation where the time I'm beating them is in such contrast to what I'm told how long they are that I just feel like I have to mention it. Lastly, I want to reiterate what I said in the first Dishonored video, and that is that I am not good at stealth games. More often than not, in the Dishonored games, I have to go loud and fight my way out of getting caught. So much so to where I feel my upgrade points, abilities, and money are usually spent on abilities that help keep me alive in battle, rather than upgrading my stealth abilities in an effort to make up for my lack of skill. So please keep that in mind when taking in the information stated in this video. It happened so much that I just never even tried for a low chaos run. In fact, when you finish the level, the game gives you a summary on how you did and a graph for how much chaos you accumulated. And I think for all but one mission, I had the graph severely in the high chaos section. I believe that is one reason why I like Crack in the Slab so much. So often in these games, I get caught and I whip out the old pistola to duke it out. And that gets very repetitive after doing it time and time again and level after level. So when A Crack in the Slab came along and I was able to mix it up a bit, it was very welcomed. But no tidbits for this game, so I can gloss over that part of it. So let's wrap things up here. As someone who is not very good at stealth games playing through these very stealth-focused games, I am not having the most fun I've ever had gaming. But with that said, I have been more bored as well. I understand Dishonored and its sequel are very well regarded as some of the best games in recent times, and I can see where they earn some of that praise, for sure. I really do. But for me personally, Dishonored 2 falls short of its predecessor, and at this point, I think it's safe to say is just not my cup of tea.
I think something moved.
Pretty sure I saw something.
Who is it? You've been around guilty of standing. What the?
Shorter one today, but that's how it is when you play sequels relatively close together. But I am thankful you and I spent this time together. Thank you for your time and attention watching this video. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. It goes a very long way for us here at Milkman Media. Don't forget to check out my first Dishonored video for a more detailed breakdown of like the gameplay and mission structure and just kind of the general vibe of these games. Although these games did not wow me at all, I do plan on playing Death of the Outsider in the near future, mainly because although the other 2 games are reported to be about 12 hours long, Death of the Outsider is reported to clock in at around 6, so I will probably be able to beat that game in a few minutes. However, that will not be the next game I play. The next game I will be playing is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I did not think this game was anything special based on the previews for it, but with it being on Game Pass, I plan to play it regardless. But seeing how highly reviewed this game is upon release, I am very excited to play it and potentially have my initial impressions proven very wrong. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that or any of the food videos I put out. Lastly, let me know what you think of the Dishonored games, the missions discussed, or anything else on your mind in the comments. I'd love to hear from you down there. That's all I got today. Thanks again for watching this shorter video, shorter than average. I'll chat with you in the comments, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.
Let's go. I know I'm moving through life like it's a runway. I'ma live life in style and paint this life like a masterpiece. There's no bringing us down, and we don't know what tomorrow holds, so we gon' live right now. All we know when we pull up, got 'em saying